Today we're going to be preparing a application for entry of default, and we're going to do that in Word, mostly because WordPad doesn't do page numbers, and it gets a pain in the butt to enter those manually. So if you don't have Word, you should probably buy it. So we're going to do a new document, and I want to show you first of all that there actually is a Word template for legal pleading paper, and it's this one here, but it's the common 28 lined pleading paper, which you would typically use in a court that's not doing electronic filing. If you put these line numbers here and you're doing electronic filing, when you print a PDF, your PDF is not going to be text searchable, because all of a sudden all of your lines are going to have numbers in them. So a lot of courts that that are doing electronic filing don't have the line number paper. So we could use this tablet and just remove the line numbers, but I also don't really like some of the formatting. And then we'd have to delete this too. So in California courts specifically, pro se parties are supposed to put their name and address and contact information on the first page of the complaint, and that's not required for the complaint, and we're not doing a complaint. So we're going to create our own template just to show you how you might do it. So let's go back and start with a blank page. That was weird. All right, so here's our blank page, and you can see we have Calibri as our default font with size 11. So federal courts have a rule that you're supposed to use 0.14 proportional spaced font. So let's change it to that. A lot of lawyers don't use that. This complaint obviously is not a 14-point font. I mean, a lot of courts have specific rules that allow a smaller font, and other ones just kind of let you slide with a smaller font so you can fit more on a page. But we're going to do it, the proper way. So we're going to do 14. I'm going to change to Times New Roman, just because that's a serif font, which is required, and it's pretty condensed, and it's not one that's been banned by any courts that I'm aware of. So we have that, and then we're going to change our line spacing. We're going to get rid of this space after paragraph, and finally, where we put the name of the court, we want it spaced at 1.5. So we'll do that. And then we could just copy the name of the court as it is here, but I've found that if you actually look at the court's papers, they have a specific way that they put it on there, so I'm going to do that. All right. This is, how they like it, so let's they probably have some pride in that, so let's emulate that. And then, thanks for your capitalization. I don't want that. All right, so then I'm going to make this bold, center it. All right, so the next thing we want is this caption area. So I actually have this table saved as a quick table, so I could just drop one in. Actually, it looks like I don't have it on my home computer, so that's good. We'll show you how that's done anyway. So what we want is a 3-column table. We'll just go with all the columns. And then for this parentheses vertical separator, it's going to be in the middle. So we're at 6 and a quarter. So 3 1/8 would be the middle. So let's drag this to about 3 1/8. All right, so that's where our parentheses is going to go. And it looks like we got some, we're still on our 1.5 spacing. So one way you can select the entire table is this right here. And then we'll go back to home and paragraph spacing. We actually want 1.0 spacing. All right, and then we're going to join these cells. We're going to merge them. Right, and that's all we need. And we'll wait to hide the border until we're done typing it up. Let's put a space here. Okay, so we want to put so one thing I noticed is they use the smaller e, but I think it's more proper to put all uppercase. And then I think you should also put an individual, which kind of messes up when we're using such a large font here. Because now when we put our parentheses, we're actually going to put 2 parentheses and then hit a carriage return or enter in between them. And then we want case number 1 colon 22CV 11421-ADB. And then I'm just going to copy this. And then we want plaintiff. And we'll center this. And then Joshua Abrams, also an individual. And then on your first paper you file, you have to list all the defendants. But on subsequent ones, you can just put et al., which is et space al period. All right, so let's finish our parentheses. I think we'll actually get rid of this row. No. That's right, because we have these joined. All right. I'm not worried about it. Let's just put, I would rather put the underlines underneath the table. This will work. So I just typed up some underscores, but you don't see them yet. And then under here we want to put the name of the document. So Charlie should have put that this was a complaint here. You don't need complaint for defamation. This is basically what goes in the docket, right? When you pull up the docket, you don't need to see it's a complaint for defamation, just complaint. Some people might put plaintiff's complaint because it helps separate across complaint, but I think you really just need complaint. So ours is actually a request for entry of default, or application for entry of default. But we also want to notice the clerk. So the reason you put that here is, right, is in theory when you file these, the clerk only has to look at this to file your document, the case number, and then they know what to enter in the docket. All right. So we know they're reading this, so let's go ahead and grab their attention here. And we'll do application to clerk for entry of default. And then we'll make that bold. right, so we're doing an application for entry or default. Typically, you would file. So this just has the clerk enter it that the defendant has defaulted in the docket. This would typically, we would say application for entry or default, and then we would also motion for default judgment by the court. But we're not ready for that part yet because you really want to have your receipts ready. So what we're going to do first is request the entry of default, and then we'll get all our receipts together, and then we'll file the motion for default judgment and request a hearing to go over the proof. Right, so like here, the next one is actually the title of our document. So let's do application to clerk for entry of default. I'm going to make it bold and underline. So a lot of courts pretty much say you don't want to use underline because like lowercase letters like Y and G go under the underline. But when you're doing all uppercase, it's obviously you don't have that problem. You don't need to put an underline here, but you know, it's apparently their style, so we're doing it. All right, and then here we actually want to change the line spacing to 2.0 from now on. Then let's turn off our underscore and bold. Go back to the left. And then we're going to put to the clerk, their position is initial caps. Show respect. So again, we're just grabbing their attention here. And then go ahead and type, did I spell that wrong? Sorry, not spell, typo. All right, so then we'll do plaintiff. So if you can't tell, I'm reading from a template that's provided in a legal practice guide, but we're going to make some modifications, of course. So typically if you're an attorney, you would start it out like this, but you're supposed to, instead of using the word plaintiff and defendant a lot, you typically want to personalize stuff by using last names, and since I'm pro se, I'm going to personalize it even further and use the word I. So I'm going to say I, plaintiff Jose de Castro, hereby requests that the clerk enter the default of defendant Peter for failure to plead or otherwise defend in a timely manner as provided by federal rules of civil procedure, Rule 55A. So this could be shortened. You could, I mean, the way you shorten that is but I don't know. Let's stick with the long form because we're pro se after all, no expert. So you want to make it look too official. All right, 55A. And then, so So it's fine that this starts on this line, but this is a paragraph. So we're going to want to set an indent. Oops, wrong one. This one. You typically want to indent 5 characters. So I'm looking at the D, E, F, E, N. Right. So then this request is based on the attached. So this is another thing we're going to change. So typically, right, you're the attorney, so you're not going to file. You're not going to sign a declaration. So you're going to attach affidavit from the plaintiff. But since we are the plaintiff, instead of saying this, we're just going to make this paper a declaration. So let's say this request is based on Let's do the following. All right, so then we're going to do bullets here. And there's a special type of bullet we want. And it probably doesn't already exist in your Word. It does in mine. So you would need to create a new one. So typically you would do define new number format. Right, it would look like this, and then you would go hit OK. And we want the defendant was served with the summons and complaint pursuant to federal rules of civil procedure, Rule 4C, on September the 15th. I mean, you don't want to guess, but I remember this off the top of my head. Kate was served on the 15th, and Josh was served on the 16th. So one thing you could do here is you could also attach it, and you would mention that that's attached to save the clerk some time. I'm going to not do that. So has failed to plead or otherwise respond to the complaint. And then lastly, 3, the applicable time limit for responding has expired. So you could do the math here, and you could add more line numbers here. You can say I served them on the last day under rule whatever. For them to file was blank, and that's expired. Just to prevent making an error, I'm going to leave it out and leave that work to the clerk. The clerk probably doesn't necessarily appreciate that, so it's up to you how you want to do that. And then because we're going to make this in a declaration, we're going to go ahead and add the perjury statement. I declare under penalty of perjury under the laws of the United States. So so this actually isn't necessary unless you're signing this outside the laws of the United States. So we're gonna leave that part out. Perjury that the foregoing is true and correct. So it's pretty short. All right, so then we're just going to do dated and today's date. Then we're in, we need a tab in the middle, so we're at 6.5. So we're going to do a tab at 3 1/4. So we're just going to click it right here. And then do respect fully submitted. We're going to leave space for the signature. Have a signature line, and then we're going to change our spacing back to 1. And then we want to put name of the person sign in, and then their address. Oops. City, state. All right, let's spell it out. Why not? And then next you want your email address. I'm not gonna put that on here even though it's readily available on the internet. And then finally a phone number. I guess not finally, we need one other thing after this. So then pro se parties need pro se. Because this is Latin, it's going to be italics. So we need another space here. That's a lot of space. Right, so we're almost done, except we went over a page, so now we need page numbers. So you need a page number on every page that's not the first page. So we'll go ahead and insert our page numbers, and the way we do that is go to insert, and there is a footer, but we're actually going to go to page number because we don't need a footer besides a page number. Do bottom of page, and then there's this one. That's just a plain page number. All right, so that added to the second page. Oh, and to the first page. So we're going to check this different first page. And gets rid of it on the first page. And then close header and footer. All right. So one thing I forgot to do is hide the borders. Let's get rid of that. No border. Look it over for errors. I'm not going to do that. So that's basically your application to clerk for entry of default. So you would print that out, sign it, submit it with the clerk. That's all I got for you today. If there's any videos you want me to make about law stuff, go ahead and leave a comment or send me an email. Love to hear from you. Thanks. Bye.